You probably have a skill that took years to build. Maybe it's writing, maybe it's coding, maybe it's creating, selling, analyzing, designing. You studied for it, you practiced for it, you built a reputation around it, and there's a real chance that skill will be worth half of what it's worth today, in less than 2 years. Not because you'll get worse, because the world is going to change what it considers rare. I know that sounds like fear-mongering. I thought the same thing when I first heard it. But then I remembered a story from 500 years ago about the wealthiest country the world had ever seen. That went broke because of exactly that. And while I tell you this story, I want you to keep someone in mind. A designer named Marcus, small studio in Brooklyn, 8 years building a client list, one of the best at what he did. In 2023, Marcus lost 40% of his revenue in 6 months, not because he got worse, because the world changed what it considered rare. But Marcus didn't go under. And the reason he didn't is exactly what I need to tell you. First, Spain. It was 1545. An indigenous miner named Diego Hualpa was climbing Cerro Rico, the rich mountain on the Bolivian highlands. It was cold. He lit a fire to stay warm. When the fire died out, he saw something glowing on the ground. Pure silver, coming straight out of the rock. What followed was a rush that lasted 2 centuries. Spain built the largest mining operation in human history up to that point. At its peak, over 160,000 people lived in Potosí, on a high plateau at 13,000 feet, where the air is thin and the winters kill. People died in the mines, but the silver kept coming. Potosí became one of the largest cities in the world. Bigger than London, bigger than Paris, bigger than any city in the Americas had ever been. Spanish ships crossed the Atlantic loaded down. The Spanish crown was funding wars on 5 fronts simultaneously. The King of Spain was the richest man on earth. In Seville, the city where the ships came in, visitors from other countries stood frozen in place. Palaces, cathedrals, parties that lasted for weeks. Outside those palaces, the people were starving. But here's the result nobody saw coming. Spain got poorer. That's right. The country that controlled the largest silver reserves in the world went bankrupt. Bankrupt, 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 bankrupt. 4 bankruptcies in 50 years, while the mines were producing more silver than any nation had ever seen. How is that even possible? The value of anything depends on how scarce it is. Water in a desert is worth more than gold, because in a desert, water is rare. When Spain flooded Europe with silver, silver stopped being rare. And when silver stopped being rare, it stopped being worth very much. Prices exploded. Something that cost 1 coin started costing 4, 5, 10. The bread that cost $1 started costing 5. A worker who earned just enough to eat suddenly couldn't afford to eat at all. The wealth pouring off those ships evaporated before it ever reached anyone's hands. Historians call this period the price revolution, the first major inflation in modern history. Not caused by war, not caused by crisis, caused by too much wealth. But there's more. And this part is important. Spain didn't just get poorer in terms of money. It got poorer in terms of capability. Because silver could buy everything it needed from abroad, Spain never developed its own industries. Why make cloth when you can buy it from England? Why grow food when you can import it from France? The silver was so easy it made effort unnecessary, and when the silver lost its value, Spain found itself with no silver and no industry, no wealth and no ability to generate wealth. Here's the detail that should stop you cold. Spain knew. There were brilliant advisors in the crown, economists, diplomats, strategists. They watched prices rise. They watched people get poorer. They watched the bankruptcies pile up. The warning signs were all there. Visible, documented, discussed in the royal courts. And still nothing changed. Why? Because changing would mean admitting that the thing that defined them, the silver, the wealth, the power, wasn't what they thought it was. And no human being can change what they believe about themselves without first accepting that the old identity no longer works. Spain wasn't destroyed by poverty. It was destroyed by the belief that it was safe. Meanwhile, two countries with no mines were doing something completely different. The Netherlands created the world's first stock exchange in 1602. England created the Bank of England. Developed capital markets, built trade routes that lasted centuries. They had no silver, but they had something silver couldn't buy. They knew how to turn a resource into a system. Now I need to ask you something. And I want you to answer honestly, just for yourself. The main skill you use to make money today, is it getting rarer or less rare? Because here's what happened. It took Spain 500 years to understand what it had done. ChatGPT handed the world the same problem in 60 days. In November 2022, an American company launched a product. In 5 days, it had 1 million users. In 2 months, it had 100 million. Instagram took 2.5 years to reach 100 million. TikTok took 9 months. ChatGPT took 2 months. Never in the history of technology had a product grown that fast. And what ChatGPT did was exactly what the silver from Potosí did. It made abundant something that used to be scarce. Professional writing used to be expensive. Now it costs $20 a month. Code used to require years of study. Now anyone can generate it in seconds. Design, logos, images used to be a specialty. Now it's a prompt. Your salary, your price as a professional, is determined by the scarcity of your skills. If what you know how to do is rare, you're worth a lot. If what you know how to do is available to anyone with $20 a month and an internet connection, you already know the answer. And I'm not talking theory. The global human translation market has shrunk by more than 30% in the last 2 years. Companies that used to pay professional translators now run AI with minimal review, and they consider the results acceptable. Freelance platforms like Upwork and Fiverr have reported up to a 40% drop in demand for written content. The average price per article has fallen by half in 18 months. Graphic design studios have been closing in waves across New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago since Midjourney and DALL-E arrived. What used to be a $1,000 specialized service now goes for $50. In 2023, GPT-4 passed the American bar exam with a score above the human average. In 2024, AI models outperformed doctors at diagnosing certain types of cancer. In 2026, AI agents are running complex projects autonomously, researching, writing, coding, reviewing, delivering. No human in the loop. Every single one of those abilities was, until just a few years ago, considered exclusively human. This isn't science fiction. This is the price revolution of the 21st century. But here's something the alarmists won't tell you. The devaluation didn't wipe everyone out. It wiped out the people who depended on the silver. And it made fortunes for the people who understood what the silver really was. Not a destination, a tool. It's time to get back to Marcus. Marcus was 34 years old with a small studio in Brooklyn and a client list that took 8 years to build. He wasn't the cheapest designer. He was the best his clients could afford, and they knew it. When someone needed a new visual identity, they didn't Google it. They called Marcus. In February 2023, one of his biggest clients canceled the contract. Not because the work was bad, because the company had discovered Midjourney. Over the following weeks, 2 more clients left for the same reason. In 6 months, Marcus had lost 40% of his revenue. He tried what anyone would try. He lowered his prices. The clients asked for lower still, because AI has no floor. One night in October, with past due bills spread across his desk, Marcus sat staring at his screen. And that's when he saw something that changed everything. He wasn't losing to a better tool. He was losing because he was offering the wrong thing. The clients who left wanted execution. They wanted pixels on a screen, and pixels on a screen, AI could do that faster and cheaper than any human ever could. But there was one client who hadn't left. A startup in San Francisco that kept calling, kept paying, kept asking for more. Marcus called the founder and asked him directly, "Why do you still work with me?" The answer changed the direction of the studio. "Because you understand what I'm trying to build. You ask questions I don't know how to answer, and that forced me to think better. AI gives me what I ask for. You give me what I need." Marcus spent the next 3 months rebuilding the studio from the ground up. He stopped selling design. He started selling visual strategy, the process of understanding a client's business before opening any software. He started using AI to execute in days what used to take weeks, and he used the time that freed up to think deeper, ask better questions, deliver more value. 12 months in, his revenue was back to where it had been. 18 months in, it had surpassed it. Not because Marcus was faster than AI, but because he had stopped competing with it. AI does what you ask it to. Marcus understood what the client actually needed, even when the client couldn't explain it. That's the asset that can't be flooded. Why did England and the Netherlands thrive while Spain collapsed? Spain treated silver as a destination. England and the Netherlands treated silver as a tool. Spain accumulated, the others built. The 2026 job market is saying the exact same thing. What's being devalued is the work that fits in a prompt. What's being valued is the work that doesn't. Let me show you what doesn't fit. Judgment. A lawyer in Washington got an impossible case. The data pointed to a loss. The AI consulted 3 different times with 3 different approaches, recommended settling. He went to trial. He won. Because there was something beneath the surface of that case, the dynamics of the jury, the judge's history, a detail in how the defendant carried himself, that no model could capture. AI calculates the most likely path. Judgment means taking the right path even when the numbers don't guarantee anything. That's human, and it always will be. Trust. When you deliver work, you're putting your name on it, your reputation, your track record. The client isn't buying a file, they're buying your guarantee that it works. An agency in Chicago automated 100% of its content production with AI. 8 months later, it had lost 3 major clients. Because when something went wrong, there was no one to call. AI generates, you answer for it. That difference is worth money, and it's going to be worth more and more. Relationships. The biggest deals in the world weren't closed by proposals. They were closed by proximity, by years of conversation, of showing up, of small gestures nobody asks for but everybody remembers. AI doesn't call on a Friday afternoon just to check in. It doesn't show up at the right moment without being asked. It doesn't remember that your client's kid has a birthday next week. That has no substitute. Context. AI knows everything that's on the internet, but it doesn't know what's written nowhere. The backstory of a decision, the history of a company. What the client doesn't say but everyone in the room feels. A consultant in Boston spent 10 years working in the same healthcare sector. When AI arrived, her clients didn't leave. They came to her with harder questions, because they knew she understood things no model would ever learn. That accumulated knowledge, stored in your head, built over years, doesn't fit in any prompt. Accountability. When something goes wrong, someone has to look the client in the eye and say, "That was me and I'm going to fix it." AI can't do that. And that's exactly why the professional who steps up and owns the outcome will keep being irreplaceable. In a world where more and more things are done by machines that answer to no one. The professional who uses AI to deliver in 2 days, what used to take 2 weeks, didn't start charging less. They started charging more. Because the time that freed up became thinking. Strategy. Presence, where presence matters. The company that automated operations didn't become a smaller company. It became a smarter one. With fewer people executing and more people deciding. And the people who decide well have never been more in demand than right now. AI is the ship, not the destination. But here's the warning nobody wants to hear. And I'm going to be straight with you, because I think you deserve that. The biggest threat isn't AI replacing you tomorrow. It's you continuing to be excellent at the things AI already does better than any human, and only realizing that when the market stops calling. Think about the belief most professionals are carrying around right now. I'm good at what I do, so I'm safe. That belief is the real enemy in this video, not AI. Spain was good at what it did. It was the best in the world at pulling silver out of the ground, and that's exactly what destroyed it. Because being the best at something that lost its value protects nobody. Most people ignore the discomfort until it becomes an emergency. Marcus got close enough to feel it. The past due bills were enough to wake him up. But most people need something bigger to change, and by the time that something arrives, it's often too late to rebuild. I spent months believing that understanding AI well was enough, that following the tools, testing the models, knowing what every platform could do, that was protecting me. Until I realized I was doing exactly what Spain did, accumulating, not building. Consuming the tool instead of turning it into a system. The great devaluation is already underway, but the great appreciation has also begun, in the same market, at the same time, for different people, depending on one single choice. What's being devalued is the work that fits in a prompt. What's being valued is the work that doesn't. The question isn't what AI is going to do to the market. The question is, which side are you building? If this video gave you a different way of looking at what's happening out there, go ahead and subscribe. This channel is where I dig into topics like this: economics, finance, how markets actually behave, without dumbing it down and without the doom and gloom. But before that, I want to leave you with an open question. Because this story has two sides and the debate is far from over. Maybe AI isn't Spanish silver. Maybe it's the steam engine. That technology from the 19th century that workers in Detroit and Manchester smashed with hammers because they were afraid of the future. But that in the end created far more than it destroyed. That raised the standard of living for entire generations. That turned brutal physical labor into something machines did, and set human beings free to think. But there's a difference worth considering. The steam engine replaced physical strength, and it created new roles that humans had to fill. Engineers, operators, technicians. The transition was brutal, but there was another side to reach. AI replaces cognitive strength, and the roles it creates demand something that doesn't scale quickly: judgment, context, accumulated experience. You can't build that overnight. There's no 3-month course that delivers 10 years of being present in a sector. So here's the question I'll leave you with. Is AI going to create more value than it destroys? Or are we looking at the greatest devaluation of human labor in history? If you work in a field that's already feeling this pressure, or one that hasn't yet but you know it's coming, I want to hear from you in the comments. Because that conversation matters more than any answer I could give you. And the people who decide well have never been more in demand than right now.